Bonus pack! Bum, 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 bum. All right.
Pack Goblin.
All right, we got one extra pack. This is a pack of Apocalypse.
Why is Apocalypse cool?
Okay, so
Tell us, Jake.
Apocalypse came at the end of a very long storyline in Magic, and it was when they had the final confrontation with Phyrexia. So this is when they go to kill Yawgmoth. And at this point, the war has become desperate. They don't know friend from foe. There are sleeper agents everywhere, and they are losing on all fronts. They must ally with unlikely friends from across Dominaria, and it's the first set in a very long time that we had enemy color pairs.
What's an enemy color pair, Jake?
If you look at the back of a Magic card, you can see that there are a cycle of colors. The colors that are next to each other are allied color pairs. They like each other and have things in common.
Just like us.
When you go across the pentagon, you have the enemy color pairs. So as an example, white up here at the top is an enemy color pair with red and black. So white, black, and white, red are considered enemy color pairs. Apocalypse is a set built entirely around those. It's the first appearance of Spiritmonger and things like, geez, what are some of the other like really iconic Apocalypse cards?
I'm guessing some Phyrexian stuff.
Well, let's open it and find out.
Okay, great. Well, I think you said something really interesting about this too. Part of the reason they were able to do those enemy color pairings is because this is like the last ditch effort against the Phyrexians.
Yes.
And the idea was the Phyrexians were artifacts, right? So I know they started black.
Mostly.
Yeah. And they went into a bunch of other colors. But this idea that they could take and use anything. So they were kind of this colorless, monstrous threat that was coming on. And so all the colors kind of had to band together to fight against this big threat. And so I think that is also cool, talking about lore impacting game design.
Yes, absolutely. Whew. All right, this first card is a personal favorite of mine because I consider it fairly easy to understand, but apparently this is an extremely confusing card. Dead Ringers. Ooh. It has to be worded this way. 5 mana sorcery. Destroy 2 target non-black creatures unless either one is a color that the other isn't. They can't be regenerated.
Ooh, so if you have a red and a green, you can't blow them both up. They have to both be red. But if they're both red-green, you can blow that up.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like it.
They just have to match exactly, and none of the colors can be black.
Okay.
Yeah. Fairly simple card, but yeah. Confusing. The next is Gladenar.
Nar.
6 mana for a 4/4. Whenever a player plays a blue spell, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
I like the blue spell hate.
Yeah. Or you play it in a deck with blue spells, right? Because we're in enemy color pairs.
Oh, that's true.
So your green-blue
so
deck
true.
can cast a bunch of brainstorms in a row to make this Gladenar a real threat.
You like how my brain wasn't like, oh, let's build a deck around it. It was like, ha, screw the blue player. You can tell I don't like blue. I guess unless I'm playing blue.
Yep. And then the next card here is Razorfin Hunter. It's a 2 mana 1/1 with tap, deal 1 damage to anything. And this is a really cool card. It's part of a cycle of the enemy color pairs. This one's a Merfolk Goblin.
Yeah,
and so
I was
in
wondering
this cycle,
about that.
they have these kind of blended creatures across the enemy pairs. So there's a zombie elf. There is a I think Goblin Soldier, I want to see is the white-red one.
Okay. Okay. I think it's funny that soldier is a creature type because it feels like a profession.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really funny that in Magic the Gathering specifically, sometimes your creature type can also be your profession.
So that used to be the case. Most modern creatures now split between race and profession.
Yeah.
Or race and class. Back in this invasion block, it was kind of before that time. So you had, this is before human was a creature type.
We don't believe in humans.
Yeah, right. You're either merfolk or goblin or normal.
Racism. Sorry, that was terrible. But like a little bit. I do really like this though as like a study in how do you combine things that are kind of diametrically opposed, right? Because if you think of merfolk, they're very graceful, very like water-like, and goblins are like, nyeh, right? Tell me I'm wrong. And so I love this because the face and body feels very nyeh, and the tail feels like it's got that gracefulness to it, but then they've added some of these spikes to kind of create that vibe, the goblin vibe, kind of throughout the entire creature. So cool art.
It's also a cool way of highlighting some of the things that both colors do.
It is, yeah, fully agree. Yeah, and it's also really interesting sorry, I'm like talking so much about this one, and it's just fine. But like the fact that it's blue-red, I think it's cool that they made the main body of the creature kind of leaning towards that red color, whereas the background is very much blue with some of those little spots of red. So it's really interesting the way that they considered kind of some of that color theory and that color pie in the art that they're making. But it is really interesting looking at this in contrast with some of the earlier kind of monocolored creatures and kind of seeing what that looks like in terms of card design. Yeah. Because the border of this is gold, which doesn't really tell me anything about the colors that the card is. So just interesting thinking about how they chose to use different border colors to represent multicolored cards.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
So this next card, I'm going to be a little wordy on. This is Sata Disciple. It's 1 mana for a 1/1. It's a wizard. I know it looks like a merfolk. It's a wizard. And it has red, tap, target creature gets +2/+0. And green, tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Cool. So this is a blue creature with red and green abilities. So again, being able to use magic from across the color pie.
Yeah.
But what's interesting here is the name, Sata Disciple. There was several cycles in Apocalypse from this kind of reverse color shard type break. And now we know them as Sultai, Jeskai, all of that, that naming convention from cons. But here you have Sata, Anna, Dega, is it Dega Volver? Anyways, they have Volvers are one of the other cycles, and then Sanctuary. So there's Anna Sanctuary and things like that. And they use this kind of 3-color break. And this could have been the names of those enemy color shards. But it wasn't as pronounced as some of the later sets.
That's fair.
Similar to the allied color trios, where you have Daragaz and Rith and all of that from Invasion. And all of those cards were named Daragaz's Charm, Daragaz's Lair, all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
But now it's Jund or Naya
or
some of these other shards that they did on Alara. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Next up we have Bloodfire Infusion. It's an aura, 3 mana. It can enchant only a creature you control, and you can pay red and sack that creature to deal damage equal to its power to each creature.
So pretty.
So if you want to blow up one of your own things and hit the rest of the board, it's a really good card.
I like the art on this as a red card. This is what red card should look like.
Yep.
Red.
Every red card should be pure fire and lava.
Yeah, it's literally just like red and then there's some black shapes on it. But there's no other colors. That's really fun.
Yep.
Cool.
Fun card. Next up we have Tranquil Path. 5 mana, destroy all enchantments, draw a card. It's okay.
It's okay. It replaces itself, which is nice.
If it was an instant, this would be really good.
Oh, it's not an instant?
Nope,
it's a sorcery?
It's a sorcery.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a Reef Shaman. 1 mana for a 0/2. I love that stat line for something with an ability. It's a merfolk with tap target land's type becomes the basic land type of your choice. You can use it to color fix your own stuff. Again, you're using enemy colors, and there's not a lot of mana fixing at this time.
Right.
You can use it to change one of your opponent's lands, so when you attack with something with Mountain Walk, they have a mountain.
Ooh, that's really fun. Yeah. I like that.
It's a cool, tricky card. The flavor text on this is also really fun. With one gesture, she can render 1,000 years of navigational charts obsolete.
I do like that.
Until end of turn.
Yes.
Then they become accurate again.
Yes. Yeah. Then it's okay.
Very cool. Next up, a very simply named card. Smash! Destroy target artifact, draw a card for 3 mana. This card should see more use. It's actually really good. Being able to cantrip off a destroy target, one target artifact.
Yeah, the drawing is so nice.
Yep.
I like Smash. I feel like it should be 1 mana cheaper.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 abilities on it, and 2 abilities for 1 mana is nice. But actually, it's because I feel like artifacts are generally cheaper, at least the ones that are played more commonly. And maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong about that, but it just feels bad to be like, I'm going to use Smash to do a
So-
thing. But I guess the idea is it's like you pay 1 to blow up the artifact and 2 to draw a card. Because I feel like often 2 mana draw a card is kind of the going rate.
Kind of, but this is also before a time of Vandal Blast. There wasn't a lot of artifact destruction. It was really cheap.
Okay.
So for Smash, being 3 mana is probably fine. This is also from an era before they had common artifacts.
Oh.
So every single artifact was either uncommon or rare. And so if there was an artifact in play, it was probably relevant.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's okay. I really like it. I think it's a good thing to hold open. If you're in a red-blue Spellslinger deck, Smash is a good card to include.
That's fair.
But yeah, it's fine. Good balance.
Yeah, and it is just like a nice, like, haha, you can't fix your colors.
Yes. Yeah. And then we have Standard Bearer. 2 mana for a 1/1. If an opponent plays a spell or ability that could target a flag bearer in play, that player must choose at least one flag bearer as its target. So it's fun. It's a little interaction magnet. You can stick stuff to it to make it indestructible, to make it protection from color. And yeah, you just generally mess with your opponents with this one.
I like it.
It's a good card in just like a white control deck. I think it's still fairly useful.
I definitely heard you say standard bearer,
It's a standard bear.
and I was like,
Yeah.
this is not a 2/2.
It is not, no.
How dare they?
It's a very non-standard bear.
Non-standard bear.
It's not a standard bear. It's standard bears.
No, it's standard bearer.
Yes. Next up, we have Mind Extraction. 3 mana as an additional cost. Sack a creature. Target player reveals their hand, discards all cards of each of the sacrificed creature's colors.
Ooh. Oh, that's so baller. Also, the art is gross. I love it.
It is. That's Krovax just sucking someone's brain out. Krovax used to be a good guy, then he was corrupted by Phyrexia. At this point, I believe he is the leader of the Phyrexian army.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, probably because he can, extract information pretty effectively.
Yes. He's also the focus of the card Diabolic Intent.
Oh,
If you've seen that card, he's sitting on a
recognized
throne.
him. Yes.
And Sabo Savok is sinking into the murk in front of him. And in the story, Sabo's just like, Krovax, save me, because they basically just barely escaped with their life, and Krovax just lets them die. He just sits on the throne. Yeah. No,
I
he's pretty scary.
really like the way that Magic the Gathering uses cards as part of their storytelling.
Yes.
Right? Like, I think that that's something that Magic does uniquely well compared to other trading card games.
I believe that's true.
I believe.
I believe. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I really appreciate that fact. And the fact that the universe of Magic is within the same universe as the cards, rather than being parallel or kind of similar.
Yes.
Next one is Penumbra Kavu. My count is, that means we have a foil. Awesome. That's actually really good. 5 mana for a 3/3. When Penumbra Kavu is put into a graveyard from play, put a 3/3 black Kavu creature token into play.
Oh, nice.
So it's 5 mana for 2 3/3s, but one is a little bit delayed.
Yeah, and this is an interesting way to give you a green creature and a black creature.
Yes.
So talking about those enemy colors again.
Absolutely. And with any sort of reanimation, you can kind of cycle this. If you have a way to flicker it, you can do funny things. I guess this one's to a graveyard, so you have to go through the graveyard. But
I also love the concept because I feel like the way that green and black overlap a lot is through that kind of like reanimation, like something was alive and now it's like the circle of life kind of vibe to it. Like, I feel like green black is the circle of life. You know what I mean? But like it's got, so I think this is a great example of that.
One of the other things you'll appreciate is that there is actually a shadow in the same pose in the background because it's Penumbra Kavu, like it's a shade.
Art!
Yep, I love it.
Oh, magic.
Next one is Vidalian Mystic. I love the spaghetti beard here. He's got the like real Davy Jones looking facial hair.
Yeah, I like his wand spewing rainbows.
Red and green specifically?
Yeah.
Because those are the enemy colors of blue?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the full 5 colors, yeah.
Well, yeah, because the ability is target instant or sorcery spell becomes the color of your choice.
Yep.
Tap, target it. And it's so fun.
It's interesting that it kind of leaves out black, though.
No, black's at the bottom there.
I guess down here, that barely counts. 2 mana for 1/1 tap, target instant or sorcery becomes the color of your choice. That's fun.
That is fun.
Cool card. Next card, I actually really like this. Gerard's Verdict. 2 mana, target player discards 2 cards from their hand, and then you gain 3 life for each land card discarded.
Oh, I like that.
Just efficient discard and white
That's
black.
really efficient. Yeah.
Pretty cool. And finally, our rare.
It's my favorite!
It's actually one of the most expensive cards in the set.
We nailed that!
Phyrexian Arena.
This is why I'm a
Awesome.
pack goblin.
I have so many Phyrexian Arenas. It's a really good card. 3 mana, beginning of your upkeep, you draw an extra card and you lose 1 life. It's flavor text here, an audience of 1 with the malice of thousands. Do you recognize the characters here?
Are they the brothers?
Nope.
No, they're not the brothers. Who? No, I don't.
This is Gerard killing Urza.
That is Urza!
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I did recognize Urza.
Half right. It is one of the brothers.
It's one of the brothers. I didn't know who this was.
Yeah, so Gerard is the captain of the Weatherlight. At this point in the story, he actually cuts off Urza's head.
Ooh.
They're in an arena made by Yawgmoth. And Yawgmoth basically gives them both the power of planeswalkers to put Urza on a level playing field.
That's interesting, because Urza is kind of a... He's not a good person.
No, at this point, it's really unclear whether Urza would just join Yawgmoth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a good person.
And finally, we have our foil,
Ooh.
Shimmering Mirage, and it is really shimmering.
It's so pretty.
2 mana, target land's type becomes the basic land type of your choice until end of turn, draw a card.
Didn't we get this earlier too? Or am I thinking of something else?
I think we just had a creature that did this.
Oh, you're right. We did. You're right.
It's the Reef Shaman.
Yes.
Here.
Well, there we go. We have a deck where you can just mess with people's...
A lot of changing colors, a lot of changing basic land types, and a Phyrexian Arena.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good pack.
High five. We
That's
nailed
awesome.
that. That was a good way to end it.
All right.
We did it.
Nice. Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah. Christmas!
Christmas.
Ah!